Hey now, Ross Warner, coming at you once again from the Panic Room here in beautiful Suffolk County. A lot of snow here. Um, Playoff edition of the Justice Coming, whatever you want to call it, video. I normally would be writing this, but the Chargers have been winning, and I don't want to mess with anything that could possibly contribute to that. So I guess first, what happened on Sunday? A crazy confluence of events that I still really can't believe that led the Chargers to even have an opportunity to get to the playoffs. I did watch the Bengals game, which obviously I have a little bit of insight, I guess, to them now, and peeked at the Jet game every now and then. Figured the Jets would be the more um, maddening matchup to look at. Anyways, you know what happened. It was crazy. The Chargers had it all in front of them, as they like to say, and almost blew it. I'm not going to sit here and rehash all of the storylines, whether we got lucky or not. Again, if the Chargers got lucky, I can't think of a fan base and organization that deserved to get lucky more than us. So we'll take it. The team claims that they were overexcited, and that's why they looked the way they did, especially on defense. I mean, that first drive, I watched the NFL replay version of the game last night, and I mean, they just looked like they weren't trying. I know that usually when you're really amped up, you over pursue. On offense, you throw the ball too hard, too high. That didn't seem to be what was happening. They just looked like they were sleepwalking. I don't know if they took the Kansas City reserves lightly or not. Daniel Tomlinson on NFL, I guess the wrap-up show on NFL Network kind of suggested that may have been a situation. More likely than not, the fact that they didn't have any tape on the guys they were playing, be it Chase Daniel or was it Nile Davis, is that his name? Chargers looked off, but to their credit, they didn't panic. And the same thing happened the week before against the Raiders. I mean, they turned the ball over 3 times in the first half of that game, and they didn't give it away. They tried to. God knows they tried to at the end there with the pass defense. And then also, of course, the Chargers were the recipient, I guess, of some good calls. I would never have known the rule about the guys being stacked on the right side of the line, and I know Andy Reid suggested afterwards that he tried to call timeout. Didn't look like that on the replay. I don't see any time. He looked frustrated after the fake punt call, but it was crazy. I know that Eric Weddle, I guess, is claiming that he made that call. I'm sure McCoy obviously had to give him the green light beforehand. I was impressed. I know I've talked to some people that have said it was pretty stupid, and if it backfired, but for better or worse, and you never want to play to the fans. And obviously Marty Schottenheimer tried in his last playoff game with the Chargers, infamously in the first half, to go for it, to basically defeat his own reputation. I don't think McCoy was doing that, but they definitely went out and showed that they weren't going to just wait for things to happen. They were going to go out and try to seize the moment. Weddle, I didn't know what to think when it happened, if he had fumbled. There were many times during that game that I thought the season, was probably over. The missed field goal, I was watching kind of with my head kind of tilted so I wouldn't really see the kick. Of course, more importantly was that feeling that we experienced the first week of the season, and we've experienced a bunch with the Chargers where you know what's going to happen and there's nothing you can do to stop it, and you feel helpless, and you're watching another team, in this case backups, just drive down the field and set themselves up to basically put the finishing touches on a complete and utter choke job. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. So here we go on Cincinnati. This week, the Thomas Kaiser story came out on Monday night. He obviously has been playing less with the reinsertion of Ingram to the lineup, and Butler's been playing better. Teo's definitely been playing better, and Reyes and Leach have been playing a lot better. And again, it wasn't against a top flight offensive line last week, but and they're going to do a lot better job on Sunday. But those guys have played better, and they've kind of lived all this past offseason off the hype regarding how they played Legion Rays. I'm talking about in December of last year when the games really didn't mean anything. I mean, I was at the Charger Jet game in December, where they had all those sacks on Greg McElroy. And, this time around, obviously starting with the Giants game after the game against the Bengals, every game has been a must-win game. And, of course, the Chargers have been in playoff mode, the entire way. So those guys, Legion Rays, have been playing a lot better. It'll be interesting on Sunday. Going back to the Kaiser thing real quickly, from what I've heard, somebody, I guess a restaurant staff member, I don't know if they instigated. Nonetheless, it's getting sorted out by the courts. Doesn't sound like he's the kind of guy that goes out looking for trouble. He may have found it. Every Charger fan, myself included, immediately gets worried. Here comes the complacent Chargers again. I know the Union Tribune ran a story. Here comes the 2009, partying Chargers. Doesn't seem like that was the case. But, again, you can party all you want to and get in all the fights you want to. You got to back it up on Sundays. Ryan Matthews practiced today. Obviously, he deserves a ton of credit, especially for that last game. I mean, Rich Gannon doing the game was saying that there was no way he thought that Matthews was even going to play after what he saw or didn't see in practice. And the fact that Matthews did play and played so well, his best game really, with the stakes being the highest, it's amazing. And I'm not trying to jinx him with the fumbling, but watching the replay version of the game last night on NFL Network, I mean, he's running for the toughest of yards up the middle. It seems like that's something that Norv Turner was not able to figure out with Ryan Matthews, how he would work best. Now, again, if you go back to the game against the Giants when Rivers got hurt, and the Chargers seemingly, had no choice but to rely on Matthews because they didn't want to obviously have Rivers get, hurt any further. That may have been, the immediate cause of Matthews, additional workload. But he's been fantastic. I know he has been in a walking boot all week. The Chargers are going to need him. They're really going to need everybody. Can they win this game? Absolutely. I would never say that I'd be happy with where the Chargers are, and if they lose, it's no big deal. Do I feel like this is 2006? Do I feel like this is even 2009? We are looking at a 14 and 13 win respectively team, and that should they lose, it would be just a complete choke job, implosion. No, it wouldn't be that. And maybe that's why maybe they'll play better because they don't feel that pressure. I don't know. I mean, I wrote on Twitter that AJ Smith, that was always his thing. I guess the 8-8 Chargers that won that last playoff game would be the best example of this. That he always said that you get a team that's scrappy and that kind of fights to get its way into the playoffs, and they go on the road and they're dangerous. I mean, Charger fans know. We saw it with the Jets. They backed into the playoffs in 2004 after losing to the Rams. We were playing the Chiefs in a meaningless game with our backups, and we beat them. First Rivers to Floyd touchdown. And same thing with 2009. So, this is that scrappy team, I guess, that he envisioned. Last time we played Cincinnati, really it was more than a 7-point loss. It was a situation where, they really pushed the Chargers around. They don't have Geno Atkins. They certainly got pressure on Rivers, but really the thing that I took out of that is they just, their offensive line really manhandled the Chargers, and they were just able to gash the Chargers for large runs. Especially when the Chargers had him pinned there. The Chargers gave up a long pass, but it seemed like the entire day the defense on the line was on its heels. The weather's supposed to be horrible on Sunday, or at least bad enough that running would be more of an option for both teams. Mike McCoy has shown that he's able to make adjustments. I mean, if you look at the Denver game, that first Denver game, I would have told you that wasn't an 8-point loss. A lot of people were saying, if you remember after the first Denver game, that the Chargers were kind of looking for consolation by saying that they had a strong second half and they cut the Broncos lead, and then McCoy came out afterwards and said, well, we're not satisfied with just being close. But that's the way that I think some people kind of looked at it. It was like, oh, well, we held our own with the Broncos, and we came in that second game, and whether they were tired after the rest that they didn't get or not, the Chargers made adjustments and played a hell of a lot better, even though in that first drive in Denver, the defense looked as bad as it did on Sunday. So I believe McCoy and his staff, the maybe soon to be departing Ken Wisenhunt, will make adjustments. John Picano, again, I don't know if it's his schemes. We all like to think so. I heard, when I was watching the game in real time on Sunday, Rich Gannon was commenting on how many 5-6 man rushes we were running. I mean, it wasn't like we were just sitting back on our heels the entire game. Were we getting to the quarterback? No. Chase Daniel, much like Jake Locker, a little bit of Ryan Tannehill. Trying to think who else. I mean, Vic, certainly. The Chargers had trouble this year with mobile quarterbacks. That won't be the problem with Dalton on Sunday. He's not certainly mobile. I still think the Chargers can win. I'm expecting them to win. I'm not going to, hedge my bets. But certainly, I think every Charger fan privately feels like, A, they're playing with house money because of how they finished the season. I mean, having been to Washington, I can honestly say that trip now is erased from my mind. The ramifications of losing that game are done. But at the same time, it's that looseness and that, why not us attitude that the Chargers haven't really always had. Many times, of course, they've been the presumed favorite, and it's gotten to them. Missed field goals, penalties. I don't need to go down that road with you. I'm expecting a win. But I'm expecting it to be, difficult. I'm expecting it to be agonizing. The Chargers are definitely going to go after them. And, I absolutely saw the video after the Charger game, Mike McCoy, and telling them basically not to be satisfied with what they'd done and one game at a time. And, I think it was one guy, I forget who it was, that said, who day. I mean, they were saying that, just to remind the team, that's who they're playing. I mean, if Marvin Lewis needs to literally put that out there for the Bengals to inspire them, a team that barely sold out their playoff game. I'd like to think the Chargers would have sold out a home playoff game. They haven't won a playoff game in longer than we have, and they've been going to the playoffs. So, I don't think that's what he really needs. I don't know if that's just gamesmanship or not, but keys to the game, I think everybody knows. Again, Chargers can't be giving up those running yards. AJ Green, of course, is great, and Bengals have some good offensive weapons. Chargers need to be creative on defense. Guys like the aforementioned Legion and Reyes, they need to continue to clog up the middle. Eric Weddle, has really, become that guy that we traded up for in 2007. A leader and the guy that basically speaks for the team or to the team, and he was the one that said, that there was still a chance after that last Bengal game, and I would not have thought so. So, I don't think Rivers will revert back to some of his thinking about, his playoff performances, and obviously he doesn't have a great playoff record. Neither did Dan Fouts, actually. But, Rivers admitted this week that, when the Chargers haven't won, he's played badly. So I went back to some of the games that we've lost. I was thinking of the 2009 game against the Jets. Rivers had that pick. He forced the ball into Vincent Jackson, which, of course, was the first of many forced picks that he would throw in the next couple of years. He was under a lot of pressure that day. We obviously got no running game against the Jets, and that was a huge problem. LaDainian Tomlinson couldn't get out of his own way, and we didn't really use Sproles that much. Hopefully a running game. It seems like this team is, Matthews, 2-yard gains, 3-yard gains. He doesn't get tackled too much in the backfield unless, one of the offensive linemen, lets this guy go, and by the time Matthews gets the ball, they're right on him. For the most part, even if it looks like he's down, he's able to turn to 2- and 3-yard games and hopefully continue to hold on to the ball. So it seems like, continually making sure that they stay with the run certainly takes some of the pressure off of Rivers. He doesn't seem to be overly stressed. Even when they were 10 points down in a game that he knew we'd be the laughing stock of the league if we lost, he, was pretty calm and collected. And the interception was, Keenan Allen slipping. We've seen that before. We've seen Vincent Brown run the wrong routes. We've seen Allen run the wrong routes. So, it doesn't seem like Rivers is turning into the Phillip Rivers of the last couple of years in any way. And, in terms of the playoffs, look, in 2008, we went out and had a long touchdown bomb, first series of the game against Steelers, and then just fell apart, especially on special teams. Again, Chargers got to generate a pass rush. Nick Novak's got to continue to be clutch, kicking outside, and probably some really foul weather. And like I said, it's gonna be fun. And hopefully the Chargers will continue to fuck shit up as they have been doing since the Denver game. So I'll talk to you next week, hopefully after a win. Until then, Ross Warner, Justice Coming. Happy New Year.